All right, all right. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, and I do so by Shem Yahweh Shai, that is in the name of or for the sake of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, whose real name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh Shai. It is your brother Kayala, aka Boss Up, coming to you with a brief intermission to your life, right? A necessary intermission, might I add, right? About being checked or checking somebody. Right now, a lot of us have this mindset of what being checked means, and we instantly take offense to getting checked by somebody. There's so much bravado, so much macho-ness, so much testosterone, right, that goes into hearing or feeling like you being checked. And in all honesty, man, it's a lot of it is pride. It can be done in a respectful way, it could be done in a mature way, and it could be done in a spiritual manner. However, a lot of our people don't have the tact, nor do they have the scriptural knowledge to be able to properly check somebody, right? So what I'm going to do, my mission for today, is to go through the scriptures and give you some examples and some teachings on how to properly check somebody when it is necessary for you to check somebody, right? And how to receive being checked spiritually, properly by somebody. Right. So we're gonna start it off in the book of Proverbs, chapter 27. We're gonna go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 27. And we're gonna go to verse number 5. It says, open rebuke is better than secret love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. What does that mean, Kyle? Well, I'm glad you asked, right? The Bible tells us that open rebuke is better than secret love. So me being willing to check you, right, and not hold my tongue, not try to sugarcoat things, me being willing to check you is better and more real than me saying that I love you but holding my tongue, right? It's more authentic for me to be able to come to you and be like, yo, bro, you tweaking, versus me to sit back and watch you go off and claim to love you at the end of the day. It's more those wounds that I give you, right, from your feelings being hurt, from me checking you or telling you like it is. Those wounds are more faithful than the kisses of me being your enemy by sitting back and watching you destroy yourself. And it's actually more harmful for me. As a brother, it's also more harmful for me to not say anything, right? And we're going to prove that in the book of Ezekiel. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, he lays it out for you, right? This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse number 17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, unto the word at my mouth, therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. All right, so it's my job, it's your job to be a watchman, to pay attention, to look out for your brothers and to give them warning. It's your job to check them, right? When you see them going off, it's your job, it's your duty as a watchman to warn them and check them. Verse 18, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest them no warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity. But get this, his blood will I require at thine hand. If you don't go and check your brother and let him know that what they're doing is wrong, what they're doing is going off, they're going to die. Right? The Most High says that they're going to die in that wickedness that they were doing. But their blood is going to be required at your hand. meaning that the Most High is going to hold you responsible because you sat back and watched them do what they were doing when you knew better. And as a watchman, you didn't call out to them. You didn't warn them. You didn't say, hey, listen, this is how it's supposed to go. This is what we're supposed to do. This is what you're not supposed to do. You didn't do that. You was like, oh, yeah, I love you, bro. So I'm going to just keep it cool. I'm going to keep it P, right? And let you just kill yourself. That's not love, man. That's not love. So that secret love that y'all claiming to have for y'all brothers and sisters is really hatred, right? And it's the kisses of an enemy. And as followers of Christ, it's our job to follow in his footsteps, correct? Let me know, am I right or am I wrong? Right? I would like to say that I'm right. And I think that the scriptures are going to confirm that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a couple examples where Christ had to check a couple brothers and let them know what it really was. And it's all love. At the end of the day, it's all love, right? Matthew. I'm going to go to the book of Matthew, chapter 16. Right? Matthew chapter 16. And we're going to go to verse number 22. Right? It says, then Peter took him and began to rebuke him. Right? Peter is trying to rebuke Christ, the Lord and Savior. Oh my goodness. The audacity. Right? Because Christ says that Christ said that he got to die. Christ said that, listen, I got to die. I got to go so that these things should be fulfilled. And Peter's like, nope, ain't happening. You tripping. We ain't letting it slide. We're going to continue to have your back. Whoever want it can come get it. They're going to have to go through me first. This is how Peter's trying to rebuke Christ. And Peter began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord. This shall not be unto thee. Listen, you ain't finna die. We ain't gonna let it go down like that. Then verse number 23. But he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. Had to check that man. Listen, listen, bro, you don't understand the things that's of God, right? You focus on your own self. You focus on the things that are of men. Get behind me, like move, matter of fact, get from around here, like beat it, shorty. This is what Christ is saying to his disciple, the rock of the church, had to check him because he going off, following in his own way after his own understanding, right? Peter did err not knowing the scriptures or the power of God. Let's get another example. John, let's go to John chapter 2, right? John chapter 2, starting at verse number 12. After this, he went down to Capernaum, he and his mother and his brethren and his disciples, and they continued there not many days, right? So they on a mission. They went to Capernaum, right? And they didn't stay there long. Verse 13, and the Jews' Passover was at hand. And Jesus, right, went up to Jerusalem and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and the changers of money sitting, right? So these folks is up in the church making profit. They out here hustling in the house of the Lord. They hustling in the house of the Lord. What they doing? They selling prayer cloths, right? They selling prayer oil. They selling holy water, right? The same things that you see happen with these TV pastors and these churches nowadays, right? They out here trying to make money off God. Right? This is what's going on. So what Christ do? What did Christ do? Let me know what you think Christ did. Did he come in there and spend a couple dollars? Did he come and say, let me get a couple of them oxen, you know? Let me get a couple of them doves. You feel me? I need a few sheep to take back and make some clothes. Did he do that? Nah. Let's read on. Verse 14. And he found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple and the sheep and the oxen and poured out the changers' money and overthrew tables. Christ no, you can't. No, Christ wasn't all love. He didn't come in there and wish everybody well. What? He didn't come in there and say, peace be unto you. He wasn't having that. He wasn't having that at all. My man took him a nice cord, right? Came and got him a nice cord for them folks that was out there trapping and selling it in the temple. And he got the whipping. Got the whipping folks up out of there. Not even just the people though. He ain't taking it easy on nobody. He said he got the sheep up out of there, got the oxen up out of there. He got the flipping tables over. Man, what y'all doing? Y'all folks tweaking. Y'all tweaking. Had to check them. There's a time in the season for everything under the sun. Right? It's a time for you to hold your tongue, and it's a time for you to check folks and let them know what it is. The same way that Granny used to get that switch for you and get you in order is the same way that Christ came through with that cord, whipping them folks, getting them up out of there. And what he said in verse number 16, and said unto them that sold doves, take these things hence, make not my father's house a house of merchandise. Man, you take that up the street. Y'all better go on up the block with that. We're not finna do that in my daddy house. Not going on here. Not here. Y'all can, hey, listen, y'all can do that down there. Y'all can do that down at the y'all can do that down at the in Galilee. Right? We ain't playing that here. Gotta check folks sometimes, man. You got to. But sometimes, listen, sometimes it ain't gonna be pretty. It ain't gonna feel good, but it's necessary because people really got to get the picture, right? And the Bible says that he that humbles himself will be exalted. So you got to hear this. You got to hear this correction, right? And be able to receive it. Understand, like, yeah, you know, listen, I definitely, I'm tripping right now. I'm going off. Especially if brothers are bringing you the information straight out of the word. If they're bringing you the information out of the word and you're combating it, then listen, by all means, at that point, what you're trying to do is you're trying to box with God. And I can guarantee you, your arm's too short to box with God. Too short, right? Receive that correction. The same way that King David, as a matter of fact, the same way that King David is. Let's get this, right? Believe it's in 1 Samuel. No, it's 2 Samuel. Yeah, 2 Samuel. Boom. 2 Samuel chapter 12. And we're going to go into this parable real quick. 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse number 1. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David. Right? This is right after King David had killed Uriah the Hittite, just so that way he can get his woman. So all of y'all trying to backdoor your mans or trying to backdoor the ops, right? To snake them and get that girl, like this is for you. Y'all the King Davids out here. This is you. See yourself in this scripture. Right? 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 1. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David And he came unto him and said unto him, right, through him a parable. There were two men in one city. One was rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds. Like he got a lot of sheep, right? Got a lot of oxen. But the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had brought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup and lay in his bosom and was unto him as a daughter. Right. So this rich man, he got plenty, got all of the flocks that he could choose from. He got all of the sheep he could want. Right. Got his own pick of the oxen. But this poor man, he only got one. And this one is he raised it up in his household, right? He treated it as his daughter, as part of the family. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was to come. Right. So instead, the traveler came, and instead of him going and preparing one of his own lamb or one of his own sheep, what'd he do? He went and grabbed the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the dude, dressed it for the traveler. And what happened? And David's anger was greatly kindled against that man. And he said unto Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die. Ooh, David was filled up with that fire, wasn't he? He was hot. He was hot, burning with a passion and a zeal. Like, hold up, buddy, definitely in the wrong. And you know what? He needs to die for this. Verse 6, and he shall restore the lamb fourfold because he did this thing and because he had no pity. Right? So not only did he say he need to die, but you know what? He also need to pay it back. Fourfold, 4 times what he took, right? Because he ain't even had no pity. He didn't even feel bad about it. He just went and did it. And I was like, yep, well, I still got mine. This is the judgment that David is rendering unto the rich man, right? Verse number 7. And Nathan said unto David, oh, it's time to expose him. Thou art that man. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would have given unto thee such and such things. Right? The Most High, like, listen, I gave you X, Y, Z, started back over at A, gave you B, gave you C, and if that wasn't enough, I would have gave you more. But you know what? You're that man that stole that one little ewe lamb from the poor man. That's you. This is what you did to Uriah the Hittite. Right? This is David getting checked. By the Most High God through the prophet Nathan. Sometimes, right? Again, I'm sure Nathan didn't want to do this. Is the king. This is King David, man after God's own heart. But Nathan was a watchman. Nathan had a job to do. He had a job to warn the wicked. He had a job to openly rebuke that man. He did what he was supposed to do. Blood off his hands. Right? Sometimes it's necessary for you to check folks. It's simple. People may not always want to hear it though. Fortunately, all praises to the Most High, King David repented after this. He understood that he was in the wrong and repented after this. Right? It's not always so. And you'll know the type of character that you're dealing with if they don't want to repent, right? And they don't want to take heed to the correction that you're bringing them. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 32, right? This is a classic, but it's real though. The book of Sirach, chapter 32 and verse number 17. It says, a sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will. Sometimes, listen, sometimes you're going to go you're going to go and let people know what it is. You're going to go and check them through the spirit, right? Out of love. And they're not going to want to hear it. They're going to want to make an excuse because it's what they want to do. Hey, listen, bro, man, you know, the origins of smoking weed go back to you know, necromancy and speaking to the dead in Asiatic cultures, bro. Don't do that. You can't do that. This is where it started. This is what it was created for, right? Listen, you can have it as meat, right? Genesis chapter 1 verse 29. You can take that plant in as meat and eat it. However, smoking it, number one, is against nature, bro. Number two is defiling your temple. And then number three is linked back to something that we're not supposed to be doing, right? Dealing with familiar spirits, witchcraft, wizardry, sorcery, idolatry. We're not supposed to do that, bro. Man, but listen, bro, it keep me calm, you know what I mean? It help me stay focused, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm more me when I'm high, when I smoke. A sinful man is going to make an excuse to do according to his will. And that'll let you know the type of man that you're dealing with or woman that you're dealing with, right? Don't reject correction. We are never above correction. Okay? You gotta stay coachable, man. You gotta be willing and able to hear the Most High when he's speaking. Right? Because if you don't, then you have to be dealt with a certain type of way. Right? Matter of fact, let's get the book of Titus. Let's get the book of Titus, right? All praises. Titus chapter 3 and verse number 10. It says, a man that is an heretic after the first and second admonition, reject. After the first and second admonition, reject them. Right? Because you know what type of person you're dealing with. Listen, if I come and warn you once and I come and warn you twice, and you still just continue to do whatever you want to do and move about your way, especially if I'm showing you in the scriptures, listen, I don't have nothing else for you. I don't have nothing else for you. I've sowed my seeds, right? Or I've watered the seeds that were already planted. Now I got to let the Most High have his room to get the increase. But what I've done is get the blood off my hands. Listen, I can tell you that much. I got the blood off my hands. Okay? Listen, what Pilate did, he washed it. Washed the blood off his hand. Washed the blood off his hands. That's what we got to do. But we do that by correcting and checking our people. We have to. It's a must, y'all. It's a must. Again, everybody wants to feel like they're right. Everybody wants to feel like they're right, which is why we have to put my way and your way to the side. And we got to come and reason amongst the scriptures. Right? We got to search the scriptures daily. Because at the end of the day, as a matter of fact, the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, right? And verse number 2. Every way of man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the hearts. So you trying to justify why you're doing it, of course you're going to make it right in your own eyes. Like nobody wants to be wrong in reality. Nobody wants to be wrong. You don't want somebody coming up to you telling you that what you know or what you think you know or what you believe is wrong. How you're doing something, how you were taught to do it is wrong. How you learned something or how you teach something is wrong. Nobody wants to hear that for real. but our ways are right in our own eyes. That's why we got to continue to seek the will of the Most High God, right? We got to continue to seek the will of the Most High God, because at the end of the day, it's about what he wants and what he needs versus what we want and what we think we need, right? So you got to continue to hearken unto wise counsel, right? Let's go to let's go to let's stay in the book of Proverbs, right? Yeah, let's go to the book of Proverbs and chapter 17 and verse number 11, right? It says, matter of fact, verse number 9, Proverbs chapter 17, verse number 9. It says, he that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth a matter separateth very friends. A reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool. What does that mean, Kayala? It means that you being corrected as a wise man is going to stick with you, and it's going to continue to be repeated into you more than 100 lashes and stripes unto a fool. Right? Because you know what they say, man. Listen, a hard head make a soft ass. And sometimes people just don't learn. So you can have a child that's rebellious and you can whoop that ass. And then they do it again and you whoop that ass. And then they do it again. You whoop them with a belt. They do it again. You whoop them with a switch. They do it again. You whoop them with an extension cord. It's not going to help. It's not going to change them, right? That's how it is with the fool who you try to reprove and give correction. It's not going to help them. But with a wise man, it's going to continue to be repeated, right, in their ears. They're going to continue to be reminded of it because they're thinking on those things. Verse number 11. An evil man seeketh only rebellion. Therefore, a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. Right. And this is what we saw happen with King David and Nathan the prophet. Not to say that King David is an evil man. I ain't saying it like that. But the act that he committed was an evil one. And a cruel messenger was sent against him. Nathan didn't bring a good word unto him, right? He brought a tough pill to swallow. And King David had to suffer a judgment for that. So we got to remember that. Listen, being the person that got to check your people, it's not always going to be pretty. But you're the light bearer, right? Matter of fact, let's go to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. Right, verse number 14. It says, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Right? So you have that light in you, right? You have that in you. It's in you. So it's a must for you to continue to, it's a must for you to continue to be that. Hold that, have that. It's in you. There's nothing you can do about it, right? Keep going. Verse 15. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. This is our job as watchmen, right? Because that light needs to be seen and it needs to be heard. It needs to be seen and heard. You can't bridle your tongue, especially if you see your brother or sister going off and doing wrong. It's on you to say something. That's what real love is. That's what it is. You can't hide that and bury it and just be like, nah, listen, it ain't me. You know what I mean? Listen, that's on them. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. You know, listen, we all got to figure it out somehow. That's evil. That's evil. Because what you're actually doing, Leviticus chapter 19, what you're actually doing, and verse number 17. Matter of fact, verse number 16. Leviticus 19 and 16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. You cannot stand back, sit back, watch your neighbor go off and be cool with it. You can't do that. We read it in Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 18. Listen, that blood gonna be on your hands. You cannot stand against the blood of your neighbor. Because essentially, what are you doing? Let's continue. Verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. This is, if you standing against the blood of your neighbor, you sitting back, keeping quiet, what you're essentially doing is you're hating them and suffering sin upon them. Why? Because you refuse to check them when you see them going off. And at the end of the day, you bogus. You bogus, right? You can't consider yourself a real one. You can't consider yourself a day one. You can't consider them loved ones, right? You can't consider them real camp. Like you ain't being a solid brother. You ain't solid. If you sitting back, keeping cool while they going off, killing themselves and destroying themselves. Right? So respectfully, you got to start speaking up. Check your people. Check on your people. Because sometimes people will be going off in silence. They won't say nothing, or you won't really see it unless you're there to observe it. Because they'll try to keep it hid. They'll keep it close to their chest, right? But you got to be informed. What did Christ say? He said you got to know the state of your flock, right? You can't feed the sheep if you don't know which ones is hungry. You can't feed the sheep if you don't know where they at. If they didn't got up out the gate and wandered to infinity and beyond, how you supposed to bring them back into the fold? How you supposed to be a proper shepherd? How you supposed to feed them? You can't do it, right? So when you see that sheep going off, you gotta listen. You gotta get them back where they're supposed to be. It's our job, man. This is what real love is. And in reality, me bringing this word to you, this is me loving you by checking you on how to check somebody and be checked. This is what it is, right? So at the end of the day, we have to understand that open rebuke is a two-way street. Nobody is too big to be corrected. Right? The Most High tells us not to despise the chastening of the Lord. Right? So, with that, I'm gonna end it out. Let it be just that short. I won't necessarily say that's sweet, but sometimes that wine is bitter, and sometimes it's a sweet blend. This time it's a bitter wine. But it's good. It's good quality, right? It's enriched. Soak that up and allow yourself to be renewed, right? Allow your wine skin to be filled up, okay? I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. Do so by Hashem Yahweh Shai and say Shalom.